I wish to give you my blessing and prayers for your personal suffering through the terror of ISIS and after, and for the success of this two-day conference. And God bless you, and many thanks to all the participants and the organizers. During your periods of suffering, the Yazidi people have shown great courage to remain faithful to their ancient traditions and their own identity. You are a people of immense courage and faith. God bless you all. I would like to talk today about three things: justice, security, and dignity. Justice should not be an empty word. Justice is a key component of civic society that cooperates together for the betterment of all. The Armenian, Assyrian, Chaldean, Syriac genocide in 1915-17 had no apology, but simply denial and the total removal of 2,000 years of Christianity from Turkey. No one has been brought to trial, and this remains the case for the genocide of the Yazidis. The example to the German and the world in response for the Jewish genocide during World War II, where the Nuremberg trials, justice was meted out to the leaders and not just some scapegoats. What then does the world do when an ancient people like the Yazidis, when their culture is being systematically eradicated because of their faith? The aggressors brutally took their present while seeking to wipe out their history and destroy their future. Christianity in Iraq, one of the oldest faiths, is dangerously close to extinction. The church in Iraq has been and continues to be a martyr church. Since 2003, 61 churches and shrines have been destroyed, 25,000 homes seized, 150,000 Christians displaced, countless Christians have been kidnapped or murdered, bishop, 3 priests, and 6 deacons were murdered. No killers were brought to justice, as we, like the Yazidis, do not count as a people. Genocides need accountability, ownership, and repentance, as it heals not only the victims, but those who inflicted it. The German nation healed themselves by acknowledging their Jewish genocide and grew as a people an international nation. The Rwanda government knew that forgiveness and reconciliation would be key components in building a united Rwanda. I would hope that the minorities could hold a conference in Iraq where those who have suffered and created genocide, they can come and speak about how the world educates and informs generation after generation about genocide and its provisions. I would also encourage Yazda to build a genocide museum in Sinjar that could encompass a wealth of things: justice, protection, a wealth, women empowerment, property rights. The list could be gone. But we need to always focus on the sacredness of life and the person. Security. As long as security remains unaddressed, it remains a source of instability, insecurity, and eventually the extinction of the people and their cultures. The Christians fled from Baghdad and Basra to the safe Kurdistan. However, the Nineveh plains and Sinjar are not secure, and everyone everyone in this conference knows that. A lack of collective will, both internationally and locally, to right the wrongs of the persecution and to protect the unprotected will see our eventual demise within the coming years. And when it comes to dignity, we do not want the minorities to flee their country. We want them to stay and rebuild their lives and their country in a long-term safe environment. We thank the humanitarian aid agencies for their aid in this crisis, but it would have been better if they had a concerted and concrete plans. We need this plan urgently. 70% of the Yazidis have been systematically violated and displaced. They are now left traumatized and unemployed with an unknown future, without structure or the possibility of cultural survival. A society in a social fragmentation which has to be humbly applied via the lottery of international concept nodes for survival. And it's really a very difficult case here. When we address a problem to any of the international agencies, we have to bring concept paper, proposal, and we have to really address and answer lots of questions. By the time of accepting our proposal, we have another problem. Social issues arising a problem. So we have addressed again. So it needs to be really this issue to be readdressed again. Christians have suffered similar abuse by ISIS leaders, leading to the present situation of 70% unemployment where there was little before. Without the aid of Christian humanitarian agencies, some overseas churches could not have survived the onslaught of ISIS. Later on, the Hungarian government and other agencies greatly added their support. It's only in the last year that we have had money directly as churches from US government through US aid, and this was through the Catholic University in Erbil. Minorities have to compete for an ever decreasing resources of overseas aid, and especially now with COVID-19 crisis. However, we need a united and collective response from humanitarian aid agencies to deliver livelihood programs and not piecemeal attempts, as it's obviously not working with such high level of unemployment. In conclusion, it is not acceptable in any society to have such suffering that has been inflicted on the Yazidis. There has been a concerted willingness to invest in the livelihood programs, education and healthcare, and last but not least, human rights and human dignity. It is with justice and security that people can feel valued and safe. It has to be a holistic approach. We appeal for a united EU and UK and the US to collectively help us, or it will be the end of our ancient minorities. Your consulates are 2 or 3 hours drive from Sinjar and the Nineveh Plains. Yet we are disappearing from our homeland in front of you. Something is clearly not working. We would ask you to think about it and give us your collective answer. We are very happy for the international community to come to the Catholic University in Erbil to share your ideas and plans for the minorities, and should not be just nice talks and promises. It should be really a concrete plan, an immediate one. Constant dialogue must be brought to bear in divided societies to transform them into civil and cooperative ones. We admire the Yazidi people for their steadfast resistance against those who wish to deny them their existence. We ask for prayers for the minorities to work even more closely together, because working together would empower us all, remaining faithful and steadfast to their origins and traditions, and securing a rightful and dignified future in Iraq. Thank you, and God bless you all.